Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about operations with polynomials. So, first of all, we got to know what a polynomial is. Any operation that looks like a sub k times x to the k power is a polynomial. This number a sub k right here is called a coefficient. It's a number outside in front of the x. The number k is called the degree of the polynomial. Okay, so now you might have multiple powers of x in a polynomial, as you'll see. The degree is the biggest one. Okay, doesn't matter what order it is, whatever's the biggest one. The degree of a sub 0 is called the constant term, and it is degree 0. And the leading coefficient is the coefficient of the largest power of the polynomial. Okay, so what does all that mean? That means if I have something like x to the third minus 2x squared plus x to the fifth minus 7 plus x. Okay, this is a polynomial. If I find the biggest power, that would be 5. That would be the degree of this polynomial. The coefficient that goes with it, now there's no coefficient here, but there's really a 1, but we just don't show the 1 because 1 times x to the fifth is x to the fifth. This would have a leading coefficient of 1. Okay, and if I put it in order from largest to smallest powers of x, so if I switch it around like this is called standard form. I always like to put mine in standard form because for me it's easier to read, and it has my leading coefficient in the front and the degree in the front. I cannot tell you how many times I have people tell me this is degree 3 because they looked at it and they saw that the power in the front was a 3, and so they said it was degree 3. Okay, but it's not. The biggest power is 5. Okay, how to add and subtract polynomials. So it's very simple. I like to do it vertically, so I would take this, I would put the one with the most terms on the top. I always like to have it in standard form as well. And then I'm going to take the next one. I've got 2x squared. I'm going to line up my like terms plus 3x. And I'm just going to go ahead and add these up. So this would be 5x squared plus 4x minus 4. Okay? So that's really simple to do. I know that you guys, my students, have done that all before. Okay? The one you got to watch out for is subtraction. People don't have too much trouble with addition, but they do sometimes screw up subtraction. So, like here, I've got these. Okay, I'm going to take this polynomial and subtract it from this one. So I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to go ahead and put it in standard form with from the biggest power to the smallest power. And then I'm going to go ahead and write this one down here underneath because that's the one I'm subtracting. I'm going to line up my like terms. And then, since I'm subtracting, I'm going to go and change all the signs. Okay? And then this is just going to go away because 4x cubed minus 4x cubed is 0. This is going to become 9x squared minus x plus 2. And that's the difference between those two. Okay. Some people like to do it horizontally. If that's fine, just make sure that you take your minus sign and distribute it everywhere in there. Okay. So if I was going to do this horizontally, okay, 4x cubed minus 2x squared minus 4x plus 1. Okay, if I'm going to do this horizontally, I'm going to take this negative sign, I'm going to distribute it in here everywhere. So this is going to be negative 4x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 1. And then I don't need the parentheses anymore at this point. I'm going to go ahead and add that to this over here. Okay, and 4x cubed minus 4x cubed, those are going to cancel. Okay, so that's going to go away. And then I've got these two I can combine. I'm going to get my 9x squared. And I can combine those two. It's going to give me a negative x. And I can combine those two. And that's going to give me 2. Did I do that first one right? Yep. Okay. So I should get the same answer both times, which I did. So I don't care which way you do it, whatever way is easiest for you. Okay, simplifying. This time we're gonna multiply and divide. Okay, so multiplication, pretty easy. Again, I like to have this in standard form, so I'm gonna change this to negative x squared plus 2x plus 4. I like to put the ones with most terms on the top and the one with the least terms on the bottom. This is gonna be x minus 3. Okay, there is a way to distribute this in here. I don't like to do that because most of the time I see people make a lot of mistakes that way. Now I'm just going to take negative 3 and I'm going to multiply it by all of these. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative x squared is 3x squared. And then I'm going to go ahead and move over here to the x. X times 4 is positive 4x. X times 2x is positive 2x squared. And x times negative x squared is negative x cubed. And if I've lined these all up with my like terms, I should just be able to add the columns. And I'm done. Okay, now another way you can do this, some people like, is you can do like an area model. Okay, and you can say, okay, I've got x minus 3 here, and I've got negative x squared, 2x, and 4 right here. And then you just find the area of each one of these little squares or rectangles. So this would be minus x cubed. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative x squared is positive 3x squared. And then just go find your like terms and combine them. So I got like terms here, and I've got like terms here. So this would be negative x cubed plus 5x squared minus 2x minus 12. And that's the same thing I have over there. Well, I just kind of do an area model. Again, I don't care, unless it says to do it one way or another, just do whatever is easiest for you. This takes a couple extra seconds to make the little grid, but I think it's helpful for a lot of people. Okay, some different formulas you're going to need to know. Let's focus on this one. Okay, sum and difference formulas. Formula. U plus v times u minus v is u squared minus v squared. Okay, so why is that? Well, if I take this and I FOIL it, first is u squared. Outside would be u times negative v would be negative uv. Inside would be v times u, which is positive uv. And then last would be v times negative v would be negative v squared. And these two lovely things cancel out. You're left with this. Okay, so an example of this would be like x minus 2 times x plus 2. X times x is x squared. This would be positive 2x. This would be negative 2x. So those cancel out, and that would be minus 4. And so this goes away, and I'm left with x squared minus 4, which is the first term. U, here's your u and here's your v. It's this squared minus this squared. Okay, square of a polynomial. So u plus v squared is u squared plus 2uv plus v squared. Okay, how does that end up? Well, if I take this and I rewrite it as u plus v times u plus v, and then I FOIL it, u times u is u squared. Outside would be u times v, inside would be u times v again, last would be v squared. And then these combine to be 2 uv's, and that's how you end up with this. So an example of that would be x plus 4 times x plus 4. You can go ahead and FOIL that out, or you can say, oh, let's see, it's going to be this squared, x squared, plus 2 times uv, so 2 times 4x, okay, plus v squared, so that would be plus 4 squared would be 16, and then that's just 8x in the middle. Okay, this is also squared, but I've got a minus here in the middle this time. All right, that does nothing except change this to negative. Okay, so again, if I go back and I do this, u minus v times u minus v, I'm going to get u squared minus uv, we'll just call it vu this time, minus another vu, plus v squared, okay, and then that's u squared minus 2uv plus v squared. Okay, so if I did an example of that, if I had x minus 1 times x minus 1, x times x would be x squared, minus x and minus x would be minus 2x, and then negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So here's my u, here's my v. It's going to be u squared minus 2uv plus v squared. There's formulas for the cubes as well. These are a little harder. You don't run into these quite as many times. But there's a nice little pattern here. You can multiply these out if you want. I'll do one of them. So if I do u plus v cubed, okay, that would be u plus v times u plus v times u plus v. So if I take the first two and I go ahead and multiply these out, that's going to be u squared plus 2uv plus v squared times u plus v. And then what I would probably do is I would move this down here, and I would multiply this thing out. So v times v squared is v cubed. V times this would be plus 2uv squared. V times this would be u squared v. Then I shift over to here. U times v squared would be uv squared. U times this would be plus 2u squared v, and then u times u squared would be u cubed, and you add that all together. And you end up with that. Okay? So if you want, you can go ahead and do this other one, but it works out pretty much the same way. Okay, a rectangular box has sides lengths of x plus 2, x minus 2, and 2x plus 1. Write a polynomial model in standard form for the volume of the box, then use the volume when x is equal to 5 inches. Okay, so the volume of a box is going to be the length times the width times the height, so it's going to be 2x plus 1 times x minus 2 times x plus 2 in this case. Now, since this is a difference of two perfect squares, I'm going to go ahead and do that first because it makes this easier. 2x plus 1 times, that's going to be x squared minus 4. You should probably recognize that at this point. Okay. And now I can go ahead and FOIL this. So first would be x squared times 2x would be 2x cubed. to do the x squareds next. The inside, that's going to be x squared times 1 was going to be plus x squared. And then my outside is going to be minus 8x. And then my last is going to be minus 4. Okay, so here's the formula for the volume of the box. Now I can go ahead and find v of 5. So I just plug 5 in for x. And I figure out what this thing is. Okay, so this is going to be 2 times 125 would be 250, plus 25, minus 40, minus 4. So that's 275 minus 40 minus 4 is going to be 235. Minus 4 is going to be 231 cubic units. Or actually be cubic inches, because it was measured in inches. Make sure you get your units right. Okay. So I got a little assignment for you right there. Enjoy that, and I will talk to you guys later.